Welcome to Cybersecurity Workshops. In this relatively brief session, we're going to be talking about removing files and directories. So we're continuing our series from Matthew Vogel's course, Introduction to Command Line Interface, and we've talked about the file system itself. We've covered various shortcuts. We've talked about listing files. We've gone through how to create files and directories, and now we're going to talk about removing files and directories. So now you have some files that you've created, and maybe we're through with them. We want to get rid of them. We have a cluttered up file system, and we want to delete the things that we don't need anymore. And so we'll dive right in here to removing files and directories. Okay, so we're going to start with high level. Here are the tools that we're going to learn today. And they all start with an RM at the beginning, and the RM stands for remove, right? So we're gonna use RM to remove files. We're gonna use RMD to remove directories, and we're gonna use a particularly dangerous command, RM-R, to remove files and directories. And the -R stands for recursive. So we're gonna delete. This would allow us to delete entire branches of our directory tree. So it's particularly dangerous, and we'll see why in a few minutes. And I'm going to try to not do anything dangerous, but I'm going to use RM-R and show you how it works. So start very simply. The RM command can be used to remove files. So here we say RM space file1. That makes the file go away, right? So here I am in my home directory /home/student. If I do an ls, I see I have a whole bunch of directories, a few files here, and specifically I'm going to point out file 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so now if I say rm file 1, and then I do an ls, well, file 1 is gone, right? So that thing is deleted. Here's the thing about the RM command. You delete a file using RM, the file is gone, and as far as you're concerned, you can't get it back. Now, there may be a way to get the file back if you have some particular skills or technology at your disposal, but in most cases you don't. So the bottom line is, be careful about the files you're going to remove before you remove them, because once you do RM and a file name, that file isn't there anymore. So that brings us to the next slide here, where we're going to add a command line flag or a command line option to the RM command. And remember, we can change the behavior of certain Linux utilities by adding these command line options, and with RM we're going to add the -I flag or the -I command line option. What -I does is it just asks you for confirmation. So when you do RM-I and then the file name, it's going to come back and confirm, do you really want me to delete this file or not? So if I say RM-I file 2, it says remove regular file 2. If I say N, then that file does not get deleted. If I say Y, then the file is gone. Okay, so RM-I, that's going to ask you for confirmation before the file is actually deleted. Okay, so RM* can be used to remove multiple files at the same time. Multiple files at the same time. So I can use the wildcard character to as is shown on this slide, right? So we say ls. So here he has the ls file 1, and we see that there are 3 files listed, and then he does RM file and then a star, and now he tries to list those files and they're not there anymore. Okay, so I can say RM file star boom, they're gone. Those files are not there anymore. So now if I'll create some files again. So now I've created a couple of files. I've used the touch command that we talked about last time to create a couple of files. Because I want to demonstrate one or two other things here. If I had, let's say I had file 1 and file 2, and I had another file here called let's say this is my list of fishing holes, right? So I have this very, very important and secret list of my best places to go fishing, and I also have these things called file 2 and file 1. And I'm decide to declutter my home directory here, so I'm going to get rid of these file 1, file 2 things. I don't need those anymore. So I'm gonna be in a hurry, and I'm going to say rm fi star, because I know that the wildcard is going to delete the stuff that starts with fi, and now my file 1, file 2 are going to be gone, and now everything's good, right? Well, what did I just do? What I just did was I deleted all files that match this pattern, fi, and then whatever follows, that got rid of file 1 and file 2. That's cool, that's what I wanted. But what I inadvertently got rid of is my secret list of my favorite fishing holes. And as I mentioned previously, once I do rm on a file, that file's gone. And so my secret list of prime fishing spots is gone. So the point here is to if you're using wildcards, got to be very careful about the usage of the wildcards, because you're going to make things, you could make things go away that you don't want to go away. And here's another example usage of wildcards. I just switched into this my new directory, and I'll create a couple of files here. Can't spell today. Okay, so now I got a bunch of stuff in here. And here's a way I can use a wildcard to delete everything in this folder. I can say rm star, and if I say rm star, the star is still a wildcard, and everything matches star, right? Every file matches star. So now I do an ls and everything's gone. So I deleted all those files. So star is going to match the files in the directory. However, I'll create some files again. I'll also remember we used the make dir to create directories, and I can make dir. I can make dir another directory. So now I have some stuff in here. So I have 2 directories, 3 files. Say I want to get rid of all that stuff. I could say rm star, boom. Oh, it gives me an error, right? It says cannot remove directory 3, why? Because it's a directory. So if I do my ls-l again, so rm removes files but not directories. So so then if we want to remove a directory, then we use rmdir, right? Remove directory. Rmdir command can be used to remove an empty directory. Okay, so now so I'll just do a little demo here. I'm going to switch into directory 6. I create a new file, right? So now there's a file in directory 6. Let me clear here just so we can see what's going on. I'm going to cd back one. So now I'm in home student, my new directory. And if I do a listing, I see that there are 2 directories in there. I can even use a wildcard to list the contents of each one of those directories. If I say ls-l star, that's pretty cool, huh? So I did an ls. So this is what we saw 2 or 3 sessions ago when we talked about listing files. I did an ls, so list -l, long list, star, that means that's a wildcard. And remember, if I list, and remember the things that are in this directory are other directories, right? So what this did was it matched each one of the directory names and listed the contents of the directory. So I get directory 3 has no files in it. Directory 6 has one file in it, and here's the file. Students, it's owned by student, and the group is student. It's empty because I used touch to create it. It's called file 55. Okay, so I'm going to say rmdir directory 3. Okay, that worked. If I do ls-l again, directory 3 is gone. Now if I do rmdir directory 6, I get an error. It says failed to remove directory 6 because the directory is not empty. Okay, so how would I solve this conundrum if I really did in fact want to make this go away? What I could do is I could switch into directory 6, and I could delete the file there, and then I could switch back into this directory, and I could delete directory, use rmdir for directory 6. And that's cool, that would work. So I could switch into directory 6. But what if I had, what if I had directory 7 in there, and then I went into directory 7, and I had directory 88 in there. So now there's a directory in there. If I go up one, there's a directory in there. And I go in there, and so now I have I have this whole this thing I just created. I have home, student, and then in here I have my, what's it called? My new directory, and then under that I have something called directory 6. Then I have directory 7, and then I have directory 88. Okay, so I have this whole, this tree of stuff going on. If I look at it in tree form, these kind of be stacked on top of each other. And of course, this would be under the root. So I have this tree of stuff, and I'm in this folder and I want to delete this whole thing here, but I don't want to have to switch into all these directories and remove the stuff in the directories. It's sometimes the case that you'll have a fairly complicated tree of stuff, and you want to get rid of that whole thing. And so the way I solve that challenge is I use what can be a pretty dangerous thing. I say rm-r. So another option to remove directory is rm-r. If the directory is empty, it's going to function just the same as rmdir. The -r option means recursive. So recursive means delete the directory. In this case, recursive means delete this directory and everything in it. And if there's a directory in there, delete that directory and everything in it. And if there's a directory in there, delete that directory and everything in it. So it's going to do that all the way down that file tree and delete everything under that branch of the file system. So that's cool. It's very powerful. In this case, it's going to do what I want. So so now I know I have this whole tree going on here that I've described, but I can say rm-r directory 6, and now that whole thing's gone. Any files, any directories, there could be hundreds or thousands of files in that path. Now they're all gone. Okay, that's what I wanted in this case. Obviously, this can be dangerous if you do it in the wrong place in the file system. You can break your Linux computer. You can make it so that computer won't even boot anymore. In fact, I've seen this where students will accidentally do an rm-r in a portion of the file system and delete things that you have to have in order to boot the computer or in order to log into the computer. So So rm-r, very powerful command. With great power comes great responsibility. So be very careful about where and when you use this command. If you're not comfortable with it, then do it the old-fashioned way. Remove the files out of the directory first that you want to delete, and then remove the directory. Okay, so I encourage students to dive into the hands-on exercise, and teachers, you're going to have to provide that document to your students. So thanks for joining, and look forward to next time.